Picture a severe thunderstorm rolling in, but instead of clear, refreshing water washing over the streets, the sky drops a heavy, dark, oily sludge. This is exactly what happened over Tehran following a series of massive airstrikes. The targets were high-capacity oil facilities, and the resulting explosions ignited industrial infernos across the region. On the ground, emergency crews faced towering columns of fire. Millions of gallons of crude oil burned in open air, generating thousands of tons of heavy emissions by the hour. The sheer volume of these emissions triggered an immediate, rare intervention from the World Health Organization. They issued a stark warning to millions of residents. The toxins released on the ground were now migrating through the regional weather system. While ground crews worked the fire, extreme heat pushed the chemical payload upward, migrating it directly into the clouds. Because of a simple law of physics, what goes up must come down. A localized ground fire was about to transform into a sweeping weather event. This WHO report lists the specific ingredients of that payload. The airstrikes released a dense cocktail of soot, ash, unburned oil particles, and volatile chemical gases. Driven by the intense, sustained drafts of heat from the burning oil, this thick, dark smoke bypassed any ground-level containment. It rose rapidly, punching straight into the upper atmosphere. These pollutants do not simply dissipate. At altitude, they drift, suspend, and physically mix with the existing moisture in the regional cloud layer. High-altitude winds then take over. They carry this dense, toxic mixture miles away from the initial blast radius, floating directly over densely populated neighborhoods. The sky essentially acts as a massive floating reservoir. It holds millions of microscopic, unburned hydrocarbons and toxins, waiting for a single meteorological trigger to release them back to Earth. The official document outlines the scientific process for that trigger right here. It's called atmospheric scavenging. As a weather system rolls in, falling raindrops act as natural scrubbers, dropping directly through that suspended layer of polluted air. On a microscopic level, each droplet collides with smoke particles, absorbing them. The water permanently traps the soot and hydrocarbons inside as it falls. This physical encapsulation changes the internal composition of the water. Reaching the lower atmosphere, the rain has darkened into a heavy, oily liquid. The natural weather cycle efficiently scrubs the atmosphere clean, but the trade-off is brutal. It concentrates those airborne toxins into heavy droplets, firing them directly back at the surface below. When this contaminated rain makes impact with civilian infrastructure, the reality of atmospheric scavenging becomes clear. The downpour coats streets, vehicles, and buildings in a chemical residue, forming dark, viscous puddles across the concrete. While the immediate mess is highly visible, the long-term threat is hidden. That oily chemical film quietly seeps down into the soil, eventually contaminating local groundwater supplies and agricultural land. All of this traces directly back to the initial military action. The airstrikes on the oil facilities set the entire sequence in motion. The true destructive footprint of human conflict extends far beyond a weapons blast radius. Through atmospheric scavenging, an industrial fire triggers a chain reaction, forcing the natural water cycle to deliver a secondary, inescapable wave of devastation.